No, I'm thoroughly happy with Votan. One I'm not so high on though is we're going to talk about now. I mean, they've got changes, but it still doesn't. I don't still see me putting them back in my rotation of armies I'm trying to play.
Drukhari?
Yep.
The Drukhari
save the good segues for when we're recording. Come on, man.
I don't think we're going to spend 20 minutes me gushing over Votan when we record.
Welcome to Preferred Enemies, the Warhammer 40k podcast that knows nothing but pain. I'm your host, Rob.
Kevin.
Dennis.
And Richard.
And we could say we know nothing but pain because we are all in our upper 40s. I think, Dennis,
Nope.
you are maybe even older than that.
Yep.
But no, actually we know nothing but pain because we are talking about the Drukhari, the army that loves pain, loves to inflict it, finds it very tasty. And so we will be talking about the new codex, which was provided to us by Games Workshop. Thank you, Games Workshop, in exchange for a fair and honest review. And we will be getting to that a bit later in the show. But in the time since you and Dennis, you and Kevin recorded your interview with Chris and Rachel, we got 2 releases of the balanced data slate because they accidentally released it too early on the app.
Oh yeah.
Oops.
It got leaked on the app accidentally. Well, not leaked, probably a miss push.
A mistimed upload, yeah.
Yeah. And then they said, well, it's here, so push it all out, which is probably the better way. I mean, I could see either way. It was going to get leaked anyway, because if people have it downloaded and just don't update their app, they can still look at it. So
right.
and
people were doing that on Reddit.
Right. So it's probably good to just go ahead and release the rest of it early.
Yeah. They the day that it got leaked, they they pulled back the app update. And then I think it was either later that day or the next day, they had the English version of the data slate out. And they're like, okay, it'll take us a few days to get all the translated copies done.
Yeah.
And then they got that done. And then they also did release a commentary for the balanced data slate, which I do really appreciate. It's kind of nice to see what they're thinking and why they're making the changes they're making. So,
right.
And they did, we got a points update. We got the standard balance data slate. They also updated the tournament update pack. And I know that from your side and knowing what we've talked about on mission design and balance and things like that, they removed one of your favorite things from this edition, from this particular season of gameplay.
And I can see why. I'm not a fan of the why, but apparently people were changing their gameplay, trying to hone when they scored things so they could get those challenger cards, because it was a great way to play catch up. Or in this case, if you know you're going to score stuff later, get the challenger card early, so that way you can gain some extra points and then pile on the points you're going to get from your normal things. So
right, basically hold back and then slingshot yourself ahead.
Yeah, and that was not the original intent of them. So Games Workshop said, well, this wasn't the intent, so let's just remove them. But my sigh is more, I know how players are, even the non-competitive ones. Once it's been called, it's removed from the deck, you can ask if you're playing the deck, if people want to use them or not.
No one will.
Right. Well, I'd say 9. I was going to say 9 times out of 10, they would say
okay,
no.
Yeah.
But them doing that, and that was one of my favorite parts about this deck was that. And I'd seen it. If it came into play, it did allow you to catch up. Or if it didn't come into play, it means the game was a close, tight game to begin with. So by having it, I still think the games were a lot closer, at least in my little play circle. But then I did see stream games and stuff where they did, like we said earlier, not manipulate this, but they knew how to hold back to gain the best benefit of being able to acquire those cards to the, like you said, slingshot above when they needed to. So
yeah.
It's almost like gamers know how to game systems.
Yeah.
I know.
Crazy.
And so it kind of, it's like, yes, this deck is hard to get, and now in most situations you won't use like 2/3 of it.
Yeah, that's the other.
It is frustrating. I understand, but like you said, I understand their logic. I understand the reason that they did it. It is, but it's just kind of like disheartening. Of like, that was the big thing, and what did we? And it's like, you could have just kept secret missions in, and it would have been fine. People would have continued to use those. They could have just tweaked. Well, like I say they could have just tweaked the missions a little bit and then kept things the same as Pride Nexus. But then it would be harder to sell a deck when you can't say, "Oh, we're only changing a couple of things." So,
right,
like this new product could have been an errata, and so
and I was not fond of secret missions for one main reason: we always forgot about them. So technically, we never used them anyway because
fair.
At least
like they're not even.
It's always in your mind of, oh, it's a new turn. Okay, do I have a challenge? And so I don't know. They seemed like, and also the deck was just sitting right there. So.
Right. Yeah. But it's like they're also only using the primary missions and only using the deployment cards. So it's like there's no, and we hated the twists, but like they had the older mission rule things that they, the mission rule cards that they had in the previous couple of versions of this.
Were the same. Well, they're similar. They're small tweaks on those.
Yeah. But it's just like that was a system that was working, but maybe it was working as well as we thought. So,
Well, and also the asymmetric stuff's in there. I know you didn't like that, but we've actually used them in our group here for that. And yeah, they were asymmetric. I mean, whoever had the benefit, it was hard to dislodge them from having the benefit.
Yeah.
So not competitive, but fun story-wise.
Yeah, fun story-wise. I liked the idea. I didn't care for I felt the implementation wasn't what I was thinking of for asymmetric. Right. So it is what it is. But getting to the actual like faction balance themselves, actually no core rules changes, no movement changes in this time. Like the game functionally plays the exact same as it did, regardless of what faction you're playing. Small change to sisters. Retributor squads got better.
So nice.
Yeah. So yeah, rather than like they had already gained re-rolling hit rolls of ones, including wound rolls of ones, and they had gained like +1 to wound if you were against a target that had killed another sisters unit. Now they also added the +1 to the hit roll, and it's a in addition to, not an instead of. Yeah, retributors are just great now, and they got cheaper too.
Nice.
So yeah, just a better choice all around. No changes to Custodes rules wise, but they did get a few points drops. Custodian Guard dropped like 10 to 15 points depending on squad size. Shield Captains dropped cheaper. Land Raiders dropped cheaper. And then for the Sisters of Silence fans, Prosecutors and Vigilators got cheaper at the larger unit sizes, because I guess people weren't taking the larger unit sizes because generally you want small units for scoring mission objectives.
Exactly.
Mechanicus, why did you even buy a codex? Because it keeps getting rewritten.
They'll eventually get it right.
They rewrote a number of Belisarius Call's abilities, and they said, well, he's supposed to be the centerpiece, and nobody's really taking him, so we just made him better. They made his gun better by giving it an extra attack and or making it from D3 attacks to just 3 attacks. It went from melted D3 to melted 3. It lost blast, but it also went from damage 3 to damage D6. But that's not even the big thing for him. The big thing is they changed his Canticles of the Omnissiah ability from being you pick one at the beginning of the battle round to you pick one on your command phase, and it lasts through the command phase. And they changed what all 3 abilities he can choose do.
So nothing major.
No, nothing major. Just complete rewrite of most of his abilities. Like one of his options was an aura invocation of machine vengeance, which is, hey, if a unit's within 6 inches of this model, reroll hit rolls of 1. It is now Oath of Moment. He literally has just Oath of Moment built in as an ability.
Oath of Moment's a great rule.
Yeah.
Exactly, and it's built right into him now. He can just that can be his ability for the command phases. Pick a unit, and everybody rerolls hits against it. His mantra of discipline ability went from a 6-inch aura of +1 to battle shock or leadership tests to he gains battle line for missions where that matters. Obviously, it doesn't change army building. You can't have 6 Belisarius Skulls. He's a unique epic hero, but he becomes battle line, and it's a 6-inch aura of +1 to battle shock or leadership tests and +1 to OC. And then his Shroud Psalm ability changed from providing cover to providing stealth, which makes you harder to hit rather than helping you shirk off damage.
Because there's lots of things that also ignore cover, not as much that ignore stealth.
Right. So yeah, he's just a better force multiplier all around, giving them access to Oath of Moment in a character. I mean, it'll probably get him played more, no question there.
Yeah.
And then beyond that, they made the Eradication Beamer for the Onager Dune Crawler have like a different number of shots. I believe it went up. Let me double check, because you see them so often, which might be the problem, the reason they changed it. The Eradication Beamer went from D6 attacks to 3D3 attacks. Went from sustained hits D3 to sustained hits 1. So fewer sustained hits, but just more attacks in general. And its focused version went from strength 9 to strength 10. So it's a better gun all around. And then the Iron Strider Ballistari weapons all gained twin linked. And then there's like a couple other like changes to like Sakaran infiltrators. Their weapons gained like different attacks, different AP, like generally getting better. So yeah, like we have a full page of Mechanicus changes because they've had to rewrite that many things in their codex. Like their army rule has changed, their main named character has changed, a lot of their weaponry has changed over the last several balanced data slates. So eventually maybe we'll like Mechanicus 3 or 4.0 will get it like all tuned in and right. No real changes on Aeldari to mention, like a few points changes, but like Swooping Hawks got more expensive at the 10 model choice. Generally, other things went down. Dire Avengers and Osterman got cheaper. The Avatar of Cain got cheaper. That's unnecessary, I think.
The Eldar player here was very happy for that.
Oh, I imagine.
Although happy and sad, he's like, okay, I've got 20 extra points. What can I put for 20 extra points? Nothing, really. I guess an enhancement?
Well, you need to take that 10-man unit of Swooping Hawks, and it balances out.
I guess fair. He has a 5-man squad, so I don't think he needs a 10.
Nah, probably not.
Probably not. Let's see. Moving on. Astrum Elitarum. No rules changes, but a number of points changes. Rogaldorns, most importantly, got more expensive by like 10 points each.
Boo.
Which, I mean, makes sense. They're stupid good. They are stupid good. Otherwise, the big changes, Lord Solar Leontis got cheaper. Krieg at Combat Engineer Small Squad got cheaper. Gaunt's Ghosts got cheaper. And all the Baneblade style super heavy tanks got like 30 points cheaper.
No complaints?
Yeah.
The Mortal Wound engines and the gigantic tanks got cheaper? Okay,
you're good with that. Absolutely no changes to Black Templars. Blood Angels, for some reason, they decided to give Sanguinary Guard better weapon skill and better attacks on their spear for reasons. And like the first reaction like our patron chat had was like, oh, so Dante's really useless now, because that was his thing, was he gave them +1 attack, or not +1 attack, +1 weapon skill. Oh, so you don't need Dante anymore. And I mean, they're still a good unit. They made them more expensive, which kind of counters the points drops they gave them last time around, which I think is fair. Honestly, they probably didn't even need to improve their stats at all. They were fine where they were. Now they're just slightly better. Chaos Demons, a couple of points drops, mostly for the Slanesh stuff. Keeper of Secrets got cheaper. Fiends got cheaper. And then the Legion of Excess detachment, whenever they do the Seductive Gambit, they can now reroll hit rolls and reroll wound rolls of 1. I don't even remember what the change was last time, because I know it's changed several times, it feels like. So Chaos Knights got a couple of changes. They did change when the sticky objective is used, and I'm going to bring up the codex so I can compare and contrast. So the Infernal Lance, which is the one where you get to like make Dark Pact type checks. The detachment rule for the Unnatural Fortitude, which was the one that gave you a 5-up invulnerable save and feel no pain 6-up. It's now you pick one of those, either a 5-up invulnerable or a 6-up feel no pain.
Aww.
The sticky objectives for the Lords of Dread you could use at the start of any phase. It is now only at the start of your command phase. And the Night Abominant, so the Warp Storm's ability, so at the start of your movement phase, you roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 9 inches of this model, and on a 3-up, they take mortal wounds. It's now within 9 inches of one or more models with this ability.
So no more stacking.
No more stacking. So you can't do a trio of Knights Abominant and just gang up on somebody and make them take a lot of mortal wounds. Which, fair, probably needed to be done. Otherwise, no changes, no changes to points. They're apparently happy where the points are currently. Chaos Space Marines, no changes in the balance data slate. The only change was Obliterators got changed. They used to be able to do gain their indirect fire once per game when they did a Dark Pact. Now it is just once per game without doing a Dark Pact. They can gain indirect, but it's not in the balance data slate. You have to look in the errata to get it, which is confusing. Otherwise, they made Abaddon, Venom Crawlers, and Land Raiders cheaper, and Dark Communes more expensive because they still can't figure out how to balance cultists right.
Yeah.
Dark Angels, Lionel Johnson keeps getting better.
I'm fine with this. He's a great model.
Because they gave him 3 abilities that he could choose from, and then they're like, well, everyone's always using everyone's using the redeploy ability, so they're not ever seeing the other 2 being used. So now he gets to pick 2 abilities. It's like, we don't want him to lose the one. So, or here's an idea: you could just move one of them out, have that an ability that he always has, put another ability in its place, and bring it back to 1. But no, we're not going to do that.
Seems too complicated.
No, this sounds cooler. Other people get to pick 1, but he gets to pick 2. See, it makes him feel cooler.
And then I think the only other change was Landspeeder Vengeance Plasma Storm Battery. They let do slightly more damage. Okay, fine. And I think points wise for Dark Angels, they made the Dark Shroud cheaper because, again, people weren't really taking it. Death Guard, absolutely no changes. It's totally fine, guys. We swear.
Yeah, I don't see any issues.
No rules changes to Death Watch, but a lot of their kill teams got cheaper. I think all the kill teams got cheaper, and the Watchmaster got cheaper, all by 10 to 20 points. Drukhari, well, we'll be talking about them, so their changes are kind of irrelevant. Emperor's Children, oh, they're trying so hard to figure out how to make this army good. They're trying to figure out what to do. I can give you an answer, put more units in the Codex, but barring that, they decided to give Flawless Blades more attacks.
Good.
Because that was what was holding them back. And they decided that nobody was taking Fulgrim, which is true, because people have been taking the the coterie detachment, the one where it's you have to guess how many units you're going to kill. And people don't use Fulgrim for that one. So they figured, okay, so the problem is it's hard to play with Fulgrim, so we're going to let him ignore terrain that's shorter than 4 inches. That's what was holding him back. They also dropped his points.
The point drops might help, but this is kind of funny since this other people said, well, he's got fly, but also the way fly works,
It
now he
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
have to go.
Right.
It does. You have to go diagonally up and then diagonally down.
So you lose movement.
You lose movement.
Right.
So now if it's 4 inches or less, he doesn't have to worry about losing those fly movements.
Right. But it's I'm really sure that wasn't the reason people were holding back on Fulcrum.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just saying what's there.
I don't know. It could have been. You never know.
I mean, is that what holding you back, Kevin?
Yes, not the fact that I'm playing 8 other armies.
Okay.
I'm not playing them because I have a bunch of models that aren't legal in that codex, so I'm playing Chaos Space Marines instead.
Yeah, that's still my point I'm not pleased with.
Yeah. Otherwise, much like in Chaos Space Marines, Land Raiders got cheaper. Fulgrim got 25 points cheaper. Please take him. They really want you to play him. And then Keepers of Secrets and Seekers got cheaper on the demon side for the one detachment where you can take those. Lord Cacophonists got 10 points more expensive because that was one of the few things that people were taking a lot of. Yeah, because you want one in every Noise Marine unit. Like, that's how you designed it. It's not my fault you designed it badly.
I mean, once upon a time, that was the sergeant of that unit.
Yeah, basically.
Gene Stealer cults, a lot of their detachments got revised stratagems. Some of them got enhanced. The Host of Ascension got toned down. And they adjusted points on the Jackals and the Ridge Runners, but they lowered the points on Pure Strain Gene Stealers, Abominants, and Hybrid Metamorphs. So they're trying to kind of like change what detachments are good. Just a bunch of different changes for Gene Stealer cult detachments to try to make some of the other detachments better than the Host of Ascension. Grey Knights, Land Raiders got cheaper, except for the Crusader, but it was already pretty cheap at 220. Otherwise, no changes. Imperial Agents, Deathwatch Kill Team, and the Watchmaster got cheaper to match the standalone version. Imperial Knights got their day one changes. Like the Codex, I think actually drops this weekend. I think is when it like either the like it.
Yes, I
like,
saw it at stores when I was out yesterday.
Yeah, so it's out now, but this changed. They dropped this, so technically a 0-day update for Imperial
they did
Knights.
that to Votan a while ago.
A while ago, yeah. And so that the Valor Strike detachment, the one that's all about like having 3 knights kind of around a point, moving them up, and so all the strats targeted like 3 points or 3 knights that like 1 to 3 knights that were within 9 inches of a particular point on the board. All of those stratagems now only target 1 knight. And the Valor Strike Lance detachment ability, which let you, like when they advance, you can reroll the advance roll and you gain assault. It's now you just gain assault when you advance. They got rid of the re-rolling advances, which is probably for the best. On the other hand, the points, now granted, these are based off of Codex points, which weren't in the previous Balanced Data Slate. They kept making things cheaper again, or at least cheaper from the Codex. So like most of the knights got, like the Codex knights got like 10 to 20 points cheaper. The Crusader got more expensive at 20 points more. The Cerastus and Questoris Forge World Knights all went up like 30 to 40 points. And there's a number of changes to the detachments. The Questoris Companion detachment enhancements all went up. The Iron Chalice for the Valor Strike Lance went up. Gate Warden Lance, I don't know why you're bothering balancing it, but go ahead. A couple of their enhancements went up, one went down. We'll have to. They're like, yeah, Imperial Knights is probably way too strong, but we didn't want to feel oppressive. Like then you shouldn't release the army. But that's beside the point. Leagues of Votan, no changes. You are fine just the way you are. Possibly a bit pushed, but I'm gonna say they think you're fine.
Yay, we're fine.
What? That means I don't have to rebuild my list for the grand narrative, so I don't care. This is
very true. This is very true. You are locked in.
I still have to paint mine though.
Oh yeah, I haven't put a single speck of paint on mine yet. But I've got like 4 weeks. It's fine.
Is it that? I thought we had more time than that.
It's like 5. It's like 6 weeks. But
okay,
I want to make sure I'm done. Okay. But I'm traveling 2 of those weeks, so I have like 4 weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got 6. You got 4. Got it.
Let's see. The Necrons, one change, but it's one that my like local Necron player in our group was not a fan of because he loves the Silent King, and the Silent King's Bringer of Unity ability used to be like an aura of ignore modifiers to hit. And according to Games Workshop, they don't like having rules that ignore the opponent's rules, except for all the times where they have other units that have ignore modifiers, like land fortresses. Not fitter.
It's built into the land fortress. This he can give it to anything. So they want to control what units can have it.
Right.
The only units that can have it are the units that we want to have it.
Right. So instead they changed it to a 2-inch movement buff. So if you're within 6 inches of Zarek, you get 2 extra inches of movement, which
at first when I saw this, I'm like, wow, that's a really cool ability, getting 2 extra inches of movement. But now compared to what it used to be, oh yeah, I'd probably be not happy either.
Yeah, they did make him cheaper, like 20 points cheaper to kind of make up for the lack of power there, which He's still 400 points, which is more expensive than
gosh.
most knights.
Yeah.
That's a question. They also made Triarch Praetorians cheaper. I don't think anyone was really taking them, so that's probably why. Orcs. Also, another book of like, why did you buy a codex? Because we're changing so many stratagems and rules and data sheets. But generally for the better, because orcs, like, they're trying to figure out how to open up orcs. So they made a couple of big changes. Gazgul can now join boys and knobs.
Yay!
Not just mega knobs.
That was a thing that, yeah, I had always kind of been bummed about when I was list building. And yeah, I'm happy to see that.
And they also said that he can join knobs and boys, takes up 4 spots. I think they had done the 4 spots in battle wagons before. Oh, no, there he is. They did add that. The Gazgul Thraka model takes up the space of 4 models. So they did expand how big he is. And they do mention the boys can attach 2 leader units, but only if one of those is a war boss unit, so that you can't have Gazgul and a war boss attached, which, again, for the best.
Yeah.
Seems legit.
So, Gazgul and Painboy, best friends.
Best. That's that. No, we don't need that. That's why they made pain bosses and pain boys so much more expensive. They knew this was coming.
Yeah.
Otherwise, some changes to the Def Dread. Their piston-driven brutality used to just force a battle shock test. Now it causes mortal wounds
So much
on the
cooler.
charge. Yeah.
It's better now.
Yeah.
And the Hunter Rig and Kill Rig are now not vehicles, they are monsters.
Woohoo! Thankfully,
Yeah.
my Voton guns are anti-monster and anti-vehicle now. Yay!
And the Commandos also got the ability to combat squad.
Which is nice because, like, I did think it was kind of weird that they just made them you take 10. There was no, like, smaller unit size option for them. So, but part of that, I think, was, based on the kill team box. So,
Yeah. And then points-wise, Beast Boss on Squigosaur, Big Mech with Shaka Cat Gun, Boss Snickrot, Flash Gits, like large units of Flash Gits, large unit of Looters, all the Mega Knobs, Mozrog Scragbad, and War Bikers, and the War Boss and Mega Armor all got cheaper. No points increases, just cheaper stuff all around for the orcs. So they're really trying to pump orcs up, because I think they are currently, competitively, they are like one of the worst armies right now. Because it's one of those ones where, like, if they push it too far, they get really oppressive really fast. So they tend to nip that in the bud very early. So
Well, that's because a lot of people like orcs and they just are dying for a chance to play it, but they want them to be decent to good first.
right.
Yeah.
Space Marines, no rules changes, but a few points changes. Aggressors, Land Raiders Land Raider Redeemers got cheaper. The Gladiator Valiant got cheaper. Redemptor Dreadnought got cheaper. Bobby G got more expensive. Assault Intercessors with Jump Packs Large Squad got more expensive. The Ballistus Dreadnought got more expensive, and large squads of Blade Guard got more expensive. So they said they're pretty light on points changes. They're just kind of trying to tweak what people have been taking the most. Space Wolves, they said they came out too strong. There are no rules changes, but Arjak Rockfist, large squads of Blood Claws, Ragnar Blackmane, and all the Thunderwolf Cav got more expensive.
I will admit, seeing large squads of Blood Claws in action, it was terrifying.
Tau, only one rules change, but it's a very welcome one. The Ion Accelerator for Riptides got stronger, so they said it can actually deal with vehicles.
Woohoo.
So it's like Strength 9, Strength 10 if you supercharge, rather than 8 and 9. Happy to see that. And then points change-wise, all sizes of broadside units got smaller. Farsight got cheaper. Fire Knife battlesuits got cheaper. Sunforge battlesuits got cheaper. Firesight teams got cheaper. That's about it for Tau, but a number of things got cheaper, which I'm fine with. Thousand Suns. I am so sorry, Thousand Suns players. Oh boy.
Nah, they had their moment in the sun. I'm fine with this.
No, they didn't. That was the thing. They didn't get their moment in the sun. And in fact, apparently, from what we've heard, they don't mention this in the commentary article, but I think they were worried that if they, once they bring down some of the problem armies, that Thousand Suns would be the next on the line to just become overpowered. So they changed the Cabal of Sorcerers rule. And one of the things we liked about that rule is like, hey, if one of your sorcerers fails to cast a spell, you can just keep trying with other sorcerers until you get that until you get that ritual off. Once that ritual is cast, you can't do it again, but you can keep trying it. Now can try each ritual per turn once. If you fail to cast it, too bad.
Well, when I say that they had their moment in the sun, I meant that I lost to them one time and I'm mad. So that's what I meant by that.
But Kevin, shouldn't they get 1,000 moments against you?
I don't think so.
But they're the Thousand Suns.
I guess how that works. That math doesn't check out.
So what they want to do with this is really push the risk reward model. And they're like, it hasn't been good enough. So now they want you to like, oh, if you don't think you can cast it, if you really want to cast it, because you only get to try it once, you'll have to like push yourself and risk taking the mortal wounds.
Yeah.
Which on the one hand, yeah, that's how psychic powers traditionally worked. You just always had that risk of running mortal wounds. But it's like now it's pretty much required that you do it if you want to have a solid chance to cast it.
Yeah. No, and these are supposed to be the guys that are better at casting than anyone else. So yeah, I don't know. I can see the logic behind it, but yeah, it's a little shitty.
Yeah. They also changed the ability on the sorcerer and terminator armor, so it's different than other sorcerers. Now it's basically an oath of, not exactly an oath of moment, but it's like you pick a target at the start of the shooting phase that your unit can see, that the unit he's attached to can see. You get +1 to hit that unit. It's not a bad ability by any means. It's just different than what they had before, so there's more variety. And then points wise, a lot of changes. Land Raiders got pretty much Land Raiders across the board have gotten cheaper. But Magnus more expensive, Infernal Masters more expensive, Meteor of the Vortex Beasts more expensive, Rubric 5 model squads, Rubric Marines got more expensive, Sorcerers more expensive, Zangor Enlightened with Fatecaster bows, Zangor Shamans got more expensive. All what did get cheaper, large blobs of Occult Terminators and Sekitar robots, which you couldn't even buy until like a week ago, other than from the box set.
I saw them in the store yesterday. I'm like, why are these here? Didn't they come out a long time ago?
No, they just like a couple of weeks ago was when they finally hit shelves.
Yeah, because the store I went to had like 6 boxes. I'm like, wow, that's like a new release.
And they're probably going to be on the shelves for a while. They're still not a good unit.
No, it's not. It's not like a new release because they're on the shelf. You can buy them. So it's not like a new release.
For the store I went to, they normally have a lot on the shelves. So
okay, fair enough.
Tyranids, no new rules changes, but they did make large blobs of Gene Stealers cheaper, Malocs are cheaper, Neurolictors are cheaper, Tervigon is cheaper. That's about it. They just a few points changes. Because they said the armies that have trouble with Tyranids are dialed back, so they don't want to push Tyranids too much further. Let's see, World Eaters, Exalted 8-bound, now improve the damage characteristic of melee attacks against monsters or vehicles by 1.
They don't need that.
I like that. I don't think they needed it, but sure.
And they made the Slaughterbound melee weapons, the Lacerator and Demonic Claw, strength 10. Also gave you some points changes. Angron, 25 points cheaper. Land Raiders cheaper, as I said. Chaos Spawn, more expensive because that's what you were running, right?
Honestly,
I think some people probably have been.
Yes, that was the thing that was being abused because they were the cheapest unit, and they were pretty tough, so they were good at holding things. So yeah, like I get that going up.
Yeah. Chaos Terminators noticeably cheaper, and if you had a Terminator Lord, that might mean something.
Yep.
8-bound and Exalted 8-bound all cheaper, like 15 up to 40 points cheaper for a blob of 6 8-bound, Exalted 8-bound, I should say.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic.
Forge Fiends got more expensive because you've been abusing your shooty options, World Eaters. We can't have that.
Yeah, it is. It's a weird place that the Forge Fiend and the shooty options were like the best things in the Codex.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't running them because
Well, it's because of
Screw
all,
that
like the
noise.
ridiculous amount of rapid fire they're putting on
Yeah.
things just to like
Yeah.
volume of shots. Yes, you lost. Your weapon skill wasn't as good, but through so many shots, it didn't matter.
Right.
And then Karn the Betrayer got more expensive by like 15 points. And that's it for the balanced data slate and the points changes. There's a couple armies definitely were big winners. We'll see if this is enough for pull Mechanicus out of the doldrums. We'll see if it pulls orcs out of the doldrums. We'll see if anyone bothers running Fulgrim and Emperor's Children. And we'll see if Thousand Sons players really like being abused. Honestly, it's not the hugest set of changes that they've had, and mostly focused on either. The Imperial Knights ones is just funny because like the book wasn't even officially out yet at that point. So, oof.
Yeah.
But again, as we said, Knights are an extremely difficult army to balance because they're so easy to either overpower or make so expensive that you can't run an army.
And in defense of like those point changes, they did just release Chaos Knights, so like they had a pretty good like reference point of like where these should be. So I kind of get it, but yeah, it's frustrating. Again, going back to the whole digital rules distribution model, it really sucks to buy a codex and then day one get all of these changes and point updates and rule changes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like if you just had them all like directly, you could have all your codexes just through an app without having to buy a paper version, or if you could just get like PDFs of the rules that were updated regularly, even at a nominal small fee, that would feel a lot better than having like, oh yeah, this codex, I don't really need it because it's completely out of date.
I was talking to one of our friends who plays Bolt Action, and Bolt Action has a really, really great app. So this is a point that I think Richard brought up when we were looking at it. Their app can be ran on a desktop. So like you can just log in and like have access to it, which you can't do with the GW app. But you pay I think Brady pays $5 a month or something like that. And he just gets all the new releases. Like when a new codex comes out, they update it and they add it in there. And that's it. Like you now have it. It's available on an app. It's available on a desktop. It contains everything that's in the books. Nothing's paywalled. Like
your army lists exist throughout like all of the places that you go to them.
Yeah. It's not complicated. It's not hard to do this. And if a company like Warlord, which has a much smaller team to do this stuff than GW has, they were able to knock it out of the park. The app should be better than it is. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
And again, like I actually think Warlord Bolt Action is a great example of it too, because they partner with Osprey on the army books. So people buy the army books for the fluff and the pictures and all of the historical like accuracy information from Osprey. So you can still sell codexes and also do digital rules. Like GW could do this where, hey, here's your Leagues of Votann codex. In the codex, here's all of the fluff and the pictures and the army and all of this stuff, the background, the lore.
A more detailed galaxy map.
Yeah, like
with mining locations.
It's not an either. It's not an either or thing. You can do both. You can. There is a way to be able to do both of these, and they just don't.
So the Warlord app, it's not $5 a month. It's $2 a month.
Oh, it's $2 a month. Okay.
It's $2 a month. And that gives you access to their army builders for Bolt Action and Conflict 47 and Black Seas and Blood Red Skies.
Yeah. I mean, there's better methods out there for this. And like, I get GW's going to charge what GW can charge for it, but I don't know. Like it blows my mind that you pay, as it's part of your Warhammer Plus subscription, it's part of your paywall thing. And like part of that isn't just getting the rules. Or getting versions of if they gave us just the unit profiles, which there are places on the website, on the internet to go get unit profiles. So it's not like those things are completely paywalled. Give us the unit profiles, allow us to go look at every codex and every unit in there, and then like paywall an add-on to like get the detachments or something. There's ways they could still monetize this and not make it so terrible for all the players.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely feasible, and we're at the point we have beaten the horse into a fine pulp.
Yep.
But yeah, it will continue to be an issue. The beatings will continue until the deployment method or the distribution method improves.
Yeah.
And I find it ironic. What are we talking? We're going to be reviewing a codex today. We'll see how long that codex is going to remain. To be fair, it's the last codex. We are now officially on the last army to be updated for 10th edition.
Which I'm going to say I'm happy that we're getting it now rather than 3 months before an edition change.
Yes. Yeah.
This gives it time to actually simmer, people play it. I mean, we've got a good probably 6 to 8 months before. So I'm pleased with we're getting the last codex this soon in the codex life cycle or the release life cycle.
And that, that's under the assumption, which has been borne out by past experience, that we are on a 3-year cycle. So this is assuming that we are getting an 11th edition next year. Most likely we are.
Everyone is assuming that.
Yeah. So we're expecting it. But yeah, having, almost 9 months of playability. And that also assumes that 11th edition may be, what if it's minor tweaks and the codexes still mostly work?
I am hoping for that.
That would be fantastic. I don't think we need necessarily full revamps of everything
except
all the time. Like there's another number of things that we could do to, that like they could do without having to break all the codexes, or something that could be fixed with errata, which could be delivered digitally. Just saying. But anyway. So let's talk Drukhari. As always, we're going to talk about the fluff and army rules. That's going to finish up part 1 of the show. Part 2, we will get into data sheets and attachments. So the Drukhari are an offshoot of the Aeldari race. They are technically Aeldari, but they are not Asuryani, which listen to our Aeldari review for a little bit of that background. But basically, back in the day, long before the Imperium of Man rose up, the Eldar were kind of the uncontested, masters of the galaxy. The Necrons had effectively lost the war in heaven, and so they had gone into a long-term slumber over millions of years, and the Aeldari were just kind of left on their own to do their own thing. And because they are a race that feels everything very intensely, they started deciding that we're going to just lean into all the sensations we can lean into. And eventually you do that enough with a very psychically active race, and you end up making a Chaos God of Excess, which killed most of the Aeldari. Some of the Aeldari had kind of saw what was coming, and they left, and those became the Asuryani, the Craft World Aeldari, the Aeldari you see reflected in Codex Aeldari. But on the other hand, the pleasure cults and such didn't all get wiped out. Some of them said, well, you know what? We're going to run into the webway, and we're going to hide in the webway because the warp can't get us here. Only that turned out to not be entirely true, because while Slaanesh being born did not eat them directly, it did suck their souls away little by little over time. And they were not really fans of this, so they figured, well, what can we do to make that go away? And what they learned was, hey, if we inflict pain and suffering on other people, we can basically shunt that over, and Slaanesh will eat that instead. So we just have to do this forever. This is our new lot in life. We have to make everyone suffer forever. So they became the absolute very worst people. So yeah, the Drukhari, like, they are built like Aeldari. They're lithe, they're pointy-eared, they move fast. They aren't the physically the toughest. But they spend all their time. They've built up a city in the webway called Komora, which is the Dark City, they refer to it as. And it's basically, rather than having a real functional, healthy society, it's basically gang wars 24/7. The Drukhari are fractured into multiple factions. There are the Cabals, which are your more traditional warriors and pirates and gang leaders. There are the witch cults, which are obsessed with close combat, gladiatorial combat. And then you have the homunculus cabals, which are an answer to a couple of issues that the Drukhari have. The first is, how can we deliver the most exquisite pain possible? And the other is, how do we keep ourselves going as a not healthy dying race? And so their answer has been to basically master the arts of cloning and flesh crafting, so like they can both regrow almost entirely dead Drukhari. Like there's Cabalite lords who have been basically regrown from a fingernail, that kind of thing. The amount of flesh crafting and cloning they can do is fascinating. Also, most Drukhari are actually grown in vats instead of the old-fashioned biological way. And the ones that are born the old-fashioned biological way, which is, you know, it's rare for the Aeldari species. They have like a long gestation period, and they don't have many children, which is one reason why the Aeldari race is dying out. If you are born the old-fashioned way, you are considered like true born in this society, and you are better than everyone else. But being like vat born is still totally acceptable. But obviously, you can't just keep feeding on yourself pain-wise forever. It's diminishing returns. So the Drukhari basically turned into pirates. They use the webway to do lightning raids against other species, inflict a lot of pain, capture a lot of prisoners, and then bring them back to Camorra to do horrible things to them, make them fight in the gladiator pits, render drugs out of them, subject them to tortures, make them slaves, and subject them to tortures, because slavery is a form of torture in and of itself. Basically, yeah, they are absolutely terrible. Like, this is one of the few factions in 40K where it's like, oh no, there's not even a remotely like redeemable side. It's like there's no hear me out on the Drukhari. Nah, they're just bad.
Yep.
Chaos you can kind of see as like, well, they've been misled, or you know, it's like, well, you understand why they're fighting against the Imperium. And the Necrons, well, yeah, they got a bum deal from the Catan, and they did have massive empires, and now they're waking up. It's like, what are all these monkeys doing in my empire? Why are these fleshy bits in my empire? You know, the orcs just want a good fight. The Imperium is pretty bad and fascist, but you know, it's humanity. There are good spots. There are some actual like heroic factions scattered throughout that. The Tyranids are very hungry. They're not really, it's not really personal. The Aeldari just want to survive, or at least live long enough for them all to die and make a god that will kill Slaanesh. It's like, I get it. The Drukhari are just bad. They're just absolutely vicious and bad. They fight with mostly poison weapons because it hurts more. They constantly fight amongst themselves, jockey for position. I'm not going to get into the crusade rules. We generally don't. But their crusade system is you make up your own gang territory. Like you are your own Cabalite gang lord, and you are building up territories and taking over areas to build the largest like gang empire that you can.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. They're just very bad people. Thing is, they're also very good at what they do. They have some of the absolute best fighters. Lelith Hesperax is the best gladiatorial fighter possibly in the galaxy. There's a number of characters who are no longer in the book. Some of them haven't been in the book for a long time, or you know, in codexes for a long time, like Asdrubal Vecht, who is theoretically not the leader of the Drukhari, but the most powerful Cabalite lord. But he's no longer appearing in this film at this point. Urian Rakarth, who used to be in the book, used to have a model, is the most well-trained, most knowledgeable homunculus lord. And in fact has trained he's taught techniques to Fabius Bile. These are all very, very powerful, capable empire. It's just they're the absolute worst. And they don't really care about they don't care about conquering territory. They just want to come in, grab what they want, take it back home, because they can't stay in real space too long because Slaanesh will eat them. So they have to keep hiding back in the webway. So they're the worst. They know they're the worst, and they're just leaning into it because that's what they've known for thousands and thousands of years. And this obsession with pain and causing pain to keep their souls vaguely intact is what informs their army rule. And their army rule is power from pain. Now, the old army rule was also power from pain and was similar. So in the index, power from pain was you started with a certain number of pain tokens based on the battle size. So like combat patrol was 1, 1,000 points was 2, 2,000 points was 3, 3,000 points was 4. And then every time an enemy unit was destroyed or failed a battle shock test, you gained an additional pain token. And then pain tokens could be spent to either allow a unit to re-roll advance and charge rolls, or to re-roll hits and to improve your AP in melee by 1. So it made you better in melee, made you get there faster, but you had to kind of earn it by killing things. And then you had a little bit of a reserve to start with. It is similar to that, but now we've basically made pain tokens even more of a meta currency to spend. Kind of similar in some ways to yield points. The worst version of evil yield points for Votann.
I was thinking yield points or miracle dice, since you get them at command phase times. So.
Yes, yeah, because that's one of the changes. First off, you do not start, apart from like one detachment, you do not start with pain tokens. You start with 0, but at the start of your command phase, you gain a pain token, and then you continue to gain pain tokens every time an enemy unit is destroyed and every time an enemy unit fails a battle shock test. These pain tokens are not spent for a generic ability. They are instead spent to power pain abilities, which every unit in this codex has. Every unit in this codex, even the vehicles, have pain abilities that you can spend pain tokens to activate. Now, one thing they did specify in here, and I do really appreciate that this put this in, if you have a character attached to a unit and you spend a pain token, every pain ability in that unit goes off. You don't have to spend multiple, like here's the Archon and he's got an ability, and here's the unit of Cabalite Warriors they're attached with. You don't have to spend 2. You spend 1, all the pain abilities go off, which is good.
I think that's really good, because I've seen a lot of people who tend to shy away from characters because the force multiplier of having that character in the unit is not as useful. But here, I put the character in a unit, I spend a power or a pain token, I get double the benefit. I think that's a good kind of trick to get more people to use characters.
Yeah, and also what the changes they've made to one of the attachments also encourages you to take characters attached to units. So and that's good, because the characters do have some really useful abilities. We'll get to there when we get to datasheet updates, but there's some units where you really have to have a character attached to the right unit, and they're kind of limited on what units they can take, because again, this is an army that thematically is broken into 3 separate groups of sub-factions, and there's no ability to overlap between those as far as joining units.
And it's not like back in the day where you had a leader and named character for every single faction, because no models, no units. Sad.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are units that are available for all of their generic units available, like generic leaders available for all 3 of these sub-factions, but you can't have, there's no crossover between them. So you will want to take characters, and again, a lot of them that you really want to have those character abilities, and you have to have those pain abilities. Now, I will say, and we'll get into it more when we get into the data sheets in part 2, but it does feel like some of the abilities that used to always be on are now pain abilities. In some cases, there are new pain abilities, and that's great. But I will say there's a number of units where it feels like it's a side grade at best. Some feel like a straight up nerf, just because you now have to spend your meta currency to do the thing they always used to be able to do. But there are other units that are just straight up better if you choose to empower them. So, I don't know yet if it's a wash. We will have to see. But that's going to be for part 2, which we will get to shortly. But first off, we are going to go ahead and take a break for sponsor identification. And also, if you want to help support the show, and there's a couple of great ways that you can, First off is we have a Patreon. We are at patreon.com/preferred enemies. It's basically an online tip jar, but it also gets you access to the Preferred Enemies Discord. We've got a great community over there. It does get you access to any gaming materials we make, such as our Urban Conquest 10th edition update. You get first notice of like what we're working on for the show, see what we share the projects we're working on there. We love interacting with everybody, promoting events between, inside the Patreon, inside the discussion. So if you want to join that, if you want to be part of it and help support us, because even if you put in $1 a month, $1 adds up. We don't lock any of our episodes behind a paywall, but you help us pay for our recording services and our web hosting, and it keeps everything income neutral, and we really do appreciate the support. Second way to support us is on YouTube. We are at youtube.com/@preferredenemies. Subscribe there, like the videos, hit the bell icon, all the standard YouTube speak to help us fight the algorithm. Lately, I know Warhammer content creators, a lot of different content creators have noticed hit counts dropping, like view counts dropping precipitously. It may be due to a YouTube change as far as like how it interacts with ad blocking software impacting view counts. But you can help us out by watching our videos there, liking it, commenting on videos. Any sort of engagement helps drive us up through the algorithm and helps get our show out in front of more people. So we do really appreciate anyone who likes, subscribes, and comments on videos there. Third is merch. We have a merch store at preferredenemies.com/merch. We actually have a couple new designs that we are working on right now for more merchandise, but you can get Preferred Enemies like mugs, hats, t-shirts, stickers, things like that. So preferredenemies.com/merch if you want to help rep the show by wearing Preferred Enemy stuff out in public. But anyway, we're going to go take a break for sponsors. And when we come back, it'll be time to look at datasheets and attachments for Codex Drukhari. See you in a bit.